a world where nothing is certain, only music can help you to find the right way. The way you should follow today. This way will take you to the best genres of music from around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome.
Don't do it to him.
All of my knees, they loyal. We ain't the same, we ain't normal. Wait, adore you. Baby girl, I adore you. Pretty face and she loyal. So to fix your crime, girl, you royal. Wait, royal. All of my knees, they royal. All of my knees, they loyal. We ain't the same, we ain't normal. Wait, adore you. Baby girl, I adore you. Pretty face and she loyal. So to fix your crime, girl, you royal. Wait. I just had to catch my breath. I just had to stack my checks. Shorty got ass, God bless. Damn. I just had to stack my chips. I just had to grab my grip. A lot of niggas mad I'm rich. I'ma have to smash they bitch. Pull up in a maxed out fit. VLN on the logo, moving solo with the stick. Block jumping like a pogo, come and pull up on the strip. Told her pull up and get lit. So she pulled up and she stripped. Damn. I don't need all the attention. I just need all of the pension. Ran the bill up like a piston. Wait. Told them but they didn't listen. Fuck it, I teach them a lesson. I ain't got time for the stressing. Damn dog, is you kidding me? You know that we aborigines. I don't give a fuck if you feeling me, as long as you watch how you grilling me. My knee G's making history. Brother, some diamonds at Tiffany's. She a carbon queen and she feeling me, so you know she matching my energy. Royal. All of my knees, they royal. All of my knees, they loyal. We ain't the same, we ain't normal. Wait, adore you. Baby girl, I adore you. Pretty face and she loyal. So to fix your crime, girl, you royal. Wait, royal. All of my knees, they royal. All of my knees, they loyal. We ain't the same, we ain't normal. Wait, adore you. Baby girl, I adore you. Pretty face and she loyal. So to fix your crime, girl, you royal. Wait, so to fix your crime, girl, you royal. You ain't got time for the low vibes, but you know I'm feeling your vibe. You a black woman, you go God. You could trust me, girl, I promise. My only choice, to be honest. I feel like it's perfect timing. When we hit your party, we getting it lit. Hit it YBs if I need me a fit. He got the sauce, yeah, he got the drip. We gon' keep grinding until we get rich. Smoking exotic, I need me a zip. My aborigines be with the shit. Rushing your shit and I call it a blitz. We tryna find us some money to split. Can't break bread, then you fake then. Free all my guys out the state pen. Her only wet, yeah, it's leaking. She say she want me to eat it. Had to ice her out, now she blingin'. Dying for what I believe in. Dropping new heat every season. Call me a vet cause I'm seasoned. Call me a vet cause I'm healing the dogs. Roll me a wood, I ain't talking the law. Brought me some land, about to buy me a mall. Stand up nigga so I cannot fall. Chasing clout, then I won't get involved. Oh, that's your girl, then I'm testing the jaws. Said you was lame, so she gave me the draw. Feeling like
Infamous Trail Lee. Triple D Texas, bro. You ain't scared about the shit you be talking about?
Fuck all that talking, I'm with it. Talk about business. Deeper just started, I finished. They said that I'm black, bitch, I'm engine. Fuck your Thanksgiving. Shoot at these races for Christmas. I ain't got no time for no limits. Bitch, I see murder, I'm there for my niggas. Master the pews with no jail times or pictures. Came back for my pyramids, free my Egyptians. Disrespect my sister, they ass in the pot. Someone now said, conjure up, I'm in rhyme. Know that they know they act like they forgot. Bitch, we ain't slaves for the children of yacht. Come together, they think that they better. They took out your cheddar, put rats in your camp. Erase your maps, infiltrate snaps. That's how long they been here, act like they can't count. Run them out the block like Freddie Haynes.
Outclip America.
Run them out the block like Freddie Haynes.
Outclip America.
Run them out the block like Freddie Haynes.
Outclip America.
Run them out the block like the personal business just business. The blue badge got shooting habits. Being black is dope, police is super ass. We get blamed for crimes, can't avoid the lashes. Passing prayers, never make it past them. They made you black and left you stuck with it. No kumbaya, nigga, fuck forgiveness. Don't forget oppression, don't forget the lynching. Still have to pop like the way in prison. So who the fuck want the smoky smoke? Like cigarettes, I open up and throw. Niggas can't be falling for the okie doke. Every time we ride, they try to give us dope. Run them out the block like Freddie Haynes.
Out Cliff America.
Run them out the block like Freddie Haynes.
Out Cliff America.
Run them out the block like Freddie Haynes.
Out Cliff America.
Run them out the block like Freddie Haynes.
Yeah. I ain't here to judge, I just want you to walk with me. So miss me with all envy, cause shit could get dark quickly. I'm swimming with the sharks, they wishing that jaws get me. What I speak, it shall exist, that's the spirit of God in me. Listen, I'm trying to tell them that it's deeper than rap. I'm trying to bring them back, the ones that fell deep in the trap. See, they feed you the bullshit, but then be keeping the facts. Spreading white lies by trying to tell our people they black. I know my lineage, I spit the truth in any booth you sit me in. Connected to the higher power, I know why it sent me here. To open eyes and show that hope it lies within your mind. Cause this globe is ours, so let's take over now. You know it's time, cause they control the blind. Lost so they can't see what's going down. Yeah, you might could take the gold, but you can't break the golden child. All my kings worldwide, I know that they gon' hold it down. Come vibes and they firing straight out the holster. And I've been having premonitions. See, it's time for us to stand up and unite. You feel me? Because a lot of people say that you gotta see it to believe it, you feel me? But from my perspective, I look at it as sometimes we gotta believe it to see it. Start with you feel me? Feel this. I've been having premonitions of my niggas winning. Building up the projects, free from penitentiary. And we all unified, so ain't no senseless killings. I'm glad we finally realized that we ain't really different. We finally get that we in fact all kings, so we subtract all beef. We growing crops in every block, look like Black Wall Street. And we investing in these stocks so we can stack our cream. And we ready for war if you try and snatch our dreams. A revolution, we abide by our principles, making changes. Street niggas turn scholars. Knowledge is really gangster. We protectors and providers. We gotta uplift the nation for our queens. We ride if you try to put them in danger. Yeah, beneath the chaos, know your soul is pure. All that greatness you got within was never shown before. Wherever you take your crown, that's your home for sure. So why beef over the block when the world is yours, indigenous?
Well, the concern is Mr.
La ciencia.
African American voters are voting at just as high a percentage as Americans.
Charlie in this bitch. Tom Don, real American. Original American. I'm from here, I ain't come here. Yeah.
Like cop on my color, I die for my brothers, but I do not think that these hoes understand. It landed the Bama, they burned down your channels through niggas and slammers, equality dead. Fuck it, I up, they came back from my virgin, the feather my colors, the crown with the feds. Watch how you classify when you be passing by, calling you black, it's like calling you dead. Y'all came to the land of the free and the home of the brave, but forgot that it's not where you stayed. Start having babies and switching your name around, land on the dies and you taking their place. Don't forget Democrats pushing your city back, casting your vocal, put you in the grave. Rewrite your history, filling with misery, lying, told everyone we was the slaves. Where your ancestors from? What name you took on? What boat did you bitches come on? If you had a sponsorship, you not a Thompson and see, but my people been here all along. Calling us African must be an accident. Claiming you American shit is just wrong. Clarification in case you mistaken. Sit back and remember the words of this song. Obama is not American. Rich McConnell is not American. You crackers is not American. Pan-African is not American. Remember remember there's two Americas. We the old, not the new Americans. Man, look how they do Americans. Black people, the true Americans. Sorry, not sorry.
I am mixed with a little Indian. Little Indian in my family, little Cherokee Indian. My grandmama, Mr. Junior's mama, was part Cherokee Indian. Am I lying, Junior?
No, she's Indian.
Yes,
yeah,
she's
I'm
part.
Indian.
Junior, you're not Indian.
I am Indian.
Junior, you're not Indian.
I'm Indian.
Julia, you is not Indian.
Well, she was Indian, I'm Indian.
Julia.
She got her blood, she got my blood. We had each other blood.
Julia.
Then you got my blood, she Indian, I'm Indian.
Yep. Julia. Well, wait a minute.
You Indian, I'm Indian.
Hey V, line them up.
I'm a wild Indian, you know I go crazy. Ain't really Indian, that boy fugazi. I just keep it player, you can never play me. You got an ass so fat, girl, let's make a baby. And another one. Then I'm back to the trap, I'm trying to double some. She a bad woke chick and I love her tongue. We some jurisdiction boys, we some 101s. Look, don't compare me to no Martin dog, I'm like Malcolm X. Die about our freedom, we'll leave a cracker stretch. Round of applause, boy, you know we clapping text. Chucky dog, child's play, yeah, nigga, that's what's next. Open up the cans just like Arizona. Pull up mad stuff like we got the Rona. We set up jurisdictions when we buy the corner. How you claiming that's your hood and you not the owner? Be the B, I just pulled up in the need for speed. Free the land, tell the colonizers that they need to leave. Wild Indian up in my veins, you know how we bleed. You ain't gotta lie about who we is, dog, just keep it G. We at war, we can't keep the peace. Since we at war, gotta keep the peace. Whack a cone, then I meditate. Should I need to breathe? Keep a Olmec head when we slide, dog, cause we the shit.
Like my niggas said, bitch, we the shit. I can't keep the peace. If it pop off, then I want a piece. I'm just on release. I'm in go mode, motherfuck the thief. In these streets like EBT, when we at war, make peace with me. I don't give a damn, understand. Fuck who stole this land, white or black or tan. Understand, it's fuck who stole this land. Might have seen me get little buddy these hands. He wasn't no abo man. A lot of these dudes is Sambo man. They full of shit like my ammo can. What they call an N-word out the wrong mouth, that's an ambulance. Wild Indian, get it in advance, or you can post date it. Ask around, I'm the most hated. Straight sacred, they stole acreage. Go ape shit, show ain't shit. It won't be televised, I don't tape shit.
Be the B, I just pulled up in the need for speed. Free the land, tell the colonizers that they need to leave. Wild Indian up in my veins, you know how we bleed. You ain't gotta lie about who we is, dog, just keep it G. We at war, we can't keep the peace. Since we at war, gotta keep the peace. Whack a cone, then I meditate. Should I need to breathe? Keep a Olmec head when we slide, dog, cause we the shit.
In the building. God of the Geechies is in the motherfucking building. Peace to the gods. We got 46 people in the building. I'd appreciate if y'all hit that like button for me one time. Share the video out for me one time. Top of the morning, balance of the evening, wherever you are. Hope everybody's doing well this grand rising. What's up, man? Let's see what we got up in here. See, Empress Goddess Namaste is in the building. Brother Roger W is in the building. Etta Anderson is in the building. Real rappers in the building. Juice, Empress Goddess Namaste, Divins Clan, Jen Marte, Enox 0407, Stephanie Burt, The Real Rule It, Smoke Signals in the building, Yanita Yaz in the building. What else we got up in here? The Ancient One, Divins Clan. See Matthew Simmons is in the building. Golden 1020. Kato Morris is in the building. True Fu. Sister Elizabeth Young is in the building. The Ancient One. Ghetto Child Clinic is in the building. What up, gang? Darius Matthews, I see y'all in the building. True Fu. Y'all got good audio. Let me get some TVs in the chat. Shout out Chi Chi in the building. Jaja. Let me get some TVs in the chat. Make sure everything is firing on all cylinders. Hey man, we on our way to 1,000 subscribers. We at like 600 and some change right now. Make sure y'all, if you haven't subscribed already, hit the like button, share the video out, and subscribe to the channel. On our way to 1,000 subscribers. The analytics are looking very good for a little baby channel with 600 subscribers. I ain't gonna lie. The analytics is looking very good. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to y'all for, staying involved, tapping in, making sure that they don't kill, the messenger. Shout out to Tight Sam, the North American Negro in the building. What's up, gang? Y'all see what the title says. We're going to chop it up about pre-colonial America. They give us the inclination that, prior to colonization, won't shit going on. So we're going to do our due diligence to talk about that subject matter, bring awareness towards it, and potentially any information that is surrounding that topic. We'll talk about that today. I will be opening the panel at some point, but before we do that, we'll listen to a little audio. Let's see what we got. Let me see if I can find it first. Hold on 1 second. It's the audio we couldn't fucking listen to yesterday. Let's see. All right. Took for granted. What up with it? Juice, what up with it? Let's get 50 people in the building so we can get started, gang. Let's get 50 people in the building.
Us black people were the first people here. Cause I'm in there.
If you watch my film Finding Florence, you might have wondered, why would his people, knowing they're Indians, go by black? And even if it's true, it must be rare.
The Indians who remained hid, or they lied about their race. If they could pass for Caucasian, or if they could pass for black, they took on another ethnic identity. But when they did that, they lost their culture. They had to hide.
Y'all got good audio on that end? How that sound? How that sound? How that audio sound? Is it clear? Is it audible? Is it audible? Shout out OG Green Machine in the building. A Dots is in the building. Is it audible? Okay, bet. I see a few ones in the building. What's up, Empress Goddess? Namaste in the building.
As for black, they took on another ethnic identity. But when they did that, they lost their culture. They had to hide and pretend. So now today, people get really upset and say, well, you're not really Indian. Well, yes, they are. They had to lie about who they were. They lost, for lack of a better word, their public identity.
No.
Who the fuck could they should be talking about? Who's she talking about exactly? They had to change their public.
As for black, they took on another ethnic identity. But when they did that, they lost their culture. They had to hide and pretend. So now today, people get really upset and say, well, you're not really Indian. Well, yes, they are. They had to lie about who they were. They lost, for lack of a better word, their public identity.
No, it is not rare, and actually quite common. If the words of an executive of an Indian Affairs Commission isn't enough, let's hear from some Black American Indians who actually lived through that shit.
By then, there were people who knew the game, had long since become familiar with the game that was being played. The Narragansett families who wished to remain traditionally as their ancestors had been, made sure there was the teaching. Go out there and learn all that you can from these people. But never forget who you are. Never forget you have your own language, your own religion, and your own way of acceptance.
In Rhode Island, some citizens who did not own property had to wait until 1928 before they were granted voting rights. But three groups were still officially barred by state law from casting a ballot: paupers, the mentally incompetent, and Indians. The only way the Narragansetts could participate in elections was by identifying themselves as African Americans. Charles Ernest Hazard confronted officials who enforced this practice. His brother, Joseph, one of the oldest members of the Narragansett Nation, recalls the moment.
Indians couldn't vote, so he went up to the State House and he says, he saw the charter that the Indians can't vote. And he says, you vote, nature? And he says, no. He says, I consider myself a Narragansett Indian. If I vote, I'm voting under Negroes could vote, but not an Indian. And he said, I consider myself a Narragansett, not a black, so I'd like to have that changed. So they did.
What did these elders just say? No. Did they say they got chained up and beaten to being Negroes? No. They said that they had come to understand the game that was being played, and that the only way they would survive is to go out and participate in the society that had come to dominate these lands. The only way to do that is to denounce their Indian heritage and become a Negro, a black. And if you didn't know that until the 1980s, it was actually common knowledge that even in slavery, American Negroes and African Negroes were not the same peoples, watch this.
Now here is a perfect example of Cachexia africana, or dirt eating. What do they do, Mike? Oh, this is not a muzzle. No. It's simply to keep them from devouring every sort of refuge, including their own excrement and earth.
What are they doing here? They're Indians.
This is one of my many unsuccessful experiments. You see, with Indians, there's absolutely nothing to be done. There's the same difference between a Negro and an Indian as there is between a dog and a coyote. You can unsuccessful experiments. You see, with Indians, there's absolutely nothing to be done. There's the same difference between a Negro and an Indian as there is between a dog and a coyote. You can put a dog.
Yep. Wild Indian, yeah.
Hey, V, line them up.
I'm a wild Indian, you know I go crazy. Ain't really Indian, that boy fugazi. I just keep it player, you can never play me. You got an ass so fat, girl, let's make a baby. And another one. Then I'm back to the trap, I'm trying to double some. She a bad woke chick and I love her tongue. We some jurisdiction boys, we some one-on-ones. Look, don't compare me to no Martin dog, I'm like Malcolm X. Die about our freedom, we'll leave a cracker stretch.
There's no difference between the Negro and the Indian. There's a dog and a coyote. Ain't that a bitch?
Experiments. You see, with Indians, there's absolutely nothing to be done. There's the same difference between a Negro and an Indian as there is between a dog and a coyote. You can put a dog on a leash, beat him, and he'll always be there to lick your feet. Take away a coyote's liberty and you cut off his hair. An Indian will never be a slave. No one has ever been able to...
What?
There to lick your feet. Take away a coyote's liberty and you cut off his hair. An Indian will never be a slave. No one has ever been able to be there to lick your feet. Take away a coyote's liberty and you cut off his hair. An Indian will never be a slave. No one has ever been able to make them reproduce in captivity. They do not eat, they do not talk, they do not sleep, they do not make love.
That's from a 1971 European film reenacting American slavery. Nearly 2 decades before, Jesse Jackson, an enrolled Cherokee, was paid to push yet another reclassification, African American, melding 2 entirely different groups into one, further hiding the injustice done to peoples indigenous to the Americas. Now, hearing it from an Indian affairs exec and from the mouths of elders who lived through it, and seeing it portrayed in an old foreign film about America isn't enough. Please tell me, what is it that Muhammad Ali, formerly known as Cassius Clay, is talking about here? Mind you, it's been highly publicized how he threw his gold medal into the river, but never exactly why.
One day I saw 2 Africans go in with their robes and their turbans. They couldn't speak English. I heard the man say, "Let him in, they're not Negroes." I said, something's wrong. I can't say it's because I'm black, because they're so black and they're blue, but they went in. So I said, well, I get my Olympic gold medal, then I'll go in. I went and got my gold medal, went back in, ordered 2 cheeseburgers, and they said, sorry, we don't serve Negroes. I said, I don't eat them either. Give me 2 cheeseburgers. And she said, you getting smart. She called the manager and he said something about, I don't care who he is. She said, Cassius Clay, I don't care who he is. Anyway, the motorcycle gang came in and we had this fight, you read it. But I couldn't, the idea was I couldn't eat that, so I got so angry.
So they publicized that he threw his gold medal away because of racism. But they leave out that it wasn't black that made the restaurant not serve him. It was him being American. In America. Out of his own mouth, he said they served the black African, but wouldn't serve a black American, even with an Olympic gold medal around his neck. The issue isn't color, it's lineage. And they know who you are. And their problem is, if you know who you are, you might do something about it. But so long as we are dazed and confused and disconnected from our lineages and our lands, their game can continue. A game rigged against us.
Willa and Ellen. Now, tell me what you know about people my color, brown skinned, who were
Indigenous people.
to where? To what land?
To America.
All right now. And you know that as a little girls, right?
Oh, yes.
All right. I just want to thank you both. Where did you say the Indians were from? Where were you at?
Tabernacle, Vermont.
Up in, okay.
And we have
in the U.S. history. So, and then the people of color were from the northeast part of the world here in the New England area, Buffalo area. So awesome. And my family is Cherokee, and we did. Some of us went on the Trail of Tears when they came in, and the war was over. Some of us went. East part of the world here, my family is Cherokee, and we did. Some of us went on the Trail of Tears when they came in, and the war was over. Some of us went to Oklahoma. Some of us went to Oklahoma, and the rest of us that didn't want to go remained because we all fought in the war together with the British. Do you remember that? Yes. When did you learn that? In school as a little boy? Yeah, young man from high school. Wow, amazing. Well, thank you for serving our country, sir. I really appreciate it. Okay. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Remember that big Indian dude in that movie? Said he couldn't talk unless he was talking about gum? Yeah. I think they're not supposed to say Indian either. No way, really? Yeah. I think they're supposed to call them African American.
All right. Just a little warm y'all up. We got 79 people in the building. I appreciate it if y'all hit that like button. Share the video out for me one time. Let's try to get 100 people in the building. Shout out Cherokee Toe you in the building. What's up, sister? Enoch. What's up, gang? Antonio Bryant. What's up, gang? Let's talk about America pre-colonial times. Let's see. So I can get this queued up.
Forth victorious from all the battles and engagements which awaited us. But, notwithstanding all the trust we put in God, we should not ourselves be wanting in courage. Cortes then adduced many beautiful comparisons from history and mentioned several heroic deeds of the Romans. We answered him, one and all, that we would implicitly follow his orders, as the die had been cast, and we, with Caesar, when he had passed the Rubicon, had now no choice left. The road along which we marched was 8 paces in breadth, and if I still remember, ran in a perfectly straight line to Mexico. Notwithstanding the breadth, it was much too narrow to hold the vast crowds of people who continually kept arriving from different parts to gaze upon us. Besides this, the tops of all the temples and towers were crowded, while the lake beneath was completely covered with canoes.
Now, I want y'all to listen to this and put yourself in the mindset, you know, as they always been and have been alluding to, that America was a primitive place. Wasn't nothing going on in this motherfucker. Now, when you listen to the accounts, it don't sound like motherfucking goddamn. I definitely got some dispensary gas for sure. It don't sound like motherfucking goddamn. It's too primitive to me. Like, I'm just saying, just listen to it.
Remember, ran in a perfectly straight line to Mexico. Notwithstanding the breadth, it was much too narrow to hold the vast crowds of people who continually kept arriving from different parts to gaze upon us. Besides this, the tops of all the temples and towers were crowded, while the lake beneath was completely covered with canoes filled with Indians, for all were curious to catch a glimpse of us. And who can wonder at this, as neither men like unto ourselves, nor horses had ever been seen here before. When we gazed upon all this splendor at once, we scarcely knew what to think, and we doubted whether all that we beheld was real. A series of large towns stretched themselves along the banks of the lake, out of which still larger ones rose magnificently above the waters. Innumerable crowds of seen here before. When we gazed upon all this splendor at once, we scarcely knew what to think, and we doubted whether all that we beheld was real.
So, these are people coming from a so-called empire that is supposed to be to conquer the earth and the world, and is in the process of doing that, right? Yet when they get here, they seeing shit that they ain't never seen before, gang. Like, they working on, like, they looking at shit like not of the likes of Rome or any of the places that they have seen, or any of the empires or civilizations that they have been a part of, right? At least this is what I'm hearing. Shout out to Mo Naga in the building, Certified Sachi in the building. Yvonne Adams is in the building. What's good, gang? Who else did I see up in here? Adrienne Sadiq. What's up? What's up, sister?
A series of large towns stretched themselves along the banks of the lake, out of which still larger ones rose magnificently.
A series of large towns. That don't sound like motherfucking hunter-gatherer culture, I'm just saying.
The waters. Innumerable crowds of canoes were plying everywhere around us. At regular distances, we continually passed over new bridges, and before us lay the great city of Mexico in all.
Shout out to Realize in the building. The great city. Once again, city.
Crowds of canoes were plying everywhere around us. At regular distances, we continually passed over new bridges, and before us lay the great city of Mexico in all its splendor. This video is sponsored by Montezuma himself. Montezuma, and say whether he thinks any innumerable crowds of human beings were a mere handful of men. In all, 450. I may safely ask the kind reader to ponder a moment, and say whether he thinks any men in the world ever ventured so bold a stroke as this. When we had arrived at a place not far from the town, where several small towers rose together, Montezuma raised himself in his sedan, and the chiefs supported him under the arms, and held over his head a canopy of exceedingly great value. Montezuma himself, according to his custom, was sumptuously attired, had on a species of half-boot richly set with jewels, and whose soles were made of solid gold. No one of his suite...
Come on, gang. Nigga said he was rocking, his soles were gold. Like, I don't know how comfortable that would be, but sounds pretty ill to me either way.
Never looked at him full in the face. Every one in his presence stood with eyes downcast, while others again occupied the road before him and spread cotton cloths on the ground that his feet might not touch the bare earth. When it was announced to Cortes that Montezuma himself was approaching, he alighted from his horse and advanced to meet him. Many compliments were now passed on both sides. If I still remember rightly, Cortes wished to concede the place of honor to the monarch, who, however, would not accept it. The road before us now became less crowded, and yet who would have been able to count the vast numbers of men, women, and children who filled the streets? Crowded.
Once again, this is not no primitive hunter-gatherer culture shit. This is some fucking high. This is the equivalent of what's going on now. If like a motherfucker came off the bushes and goddamn ultimately ran up on motherfucking Atlanta or, you know what I'm saying, motherfucking Jacksonville or Texas somewhere. Like this is like a month. Hold on one second. Okay.
Balconies and the canoes and the canals merely to gaze upon us. Indeed, at the moment I am writing this, everything comes as lively to my eyes as if it had happened yesterday. Indeed, I cannot sufficiently praise Jesus Christ that I have been allowed to live thus long to narrate these adventures, although they may not turn out as perfect as I myself could wish. We allotted the apartments according to the several companies, placed our cannon in an advantageous position, and made such arrangements that our cavalry, as well as the infantry, might be ready at a moment's notice. After Montezuma had dined, and was likewise informed that we had left table, he set out from his palace in great pomp, accompanied by a number of his grandees and all his relations, to pay us a visit. Montezuma then began a very excellent discourse, and, first of all, expressed his delight to entertain in his kingdom and city such courageous cavaliers as Cortes and all of us were. A couple of years ago, he had received intelligence that some other officer had made his appearance at the province of Champaton, and a year later of a second who had been off the coast with 4 vessels. He had long desired to see Cortes, and since his wishes were now fulfilled, he was ready to render us any service and provide us with everything we might require. He was now convinced that we were those people of whom his earliest forefathers had spoken, a people that would come from the rising of the sun and conquer these countries. All further doubts that we were those people of whom his earliest forefathers had spoken, a people that would come from the rising of the sun and conquer these countries. All further doubt had vanished from his mind, to which Cortes answered that we should never be able to repay him for all the kindness he had shown us. We indeed came from the rising of the sun, and were servants and subjects of a powerful monarch, called Don, able to repay him for all the kindness he had shown us. We indeed came from the rising of the sun, and were servants and subjects of a powerful monarch, called Don.
See, it's crazy. Like, he basically told them, oh, y'all was supposed to be the people my people prophesied about coming to conquer all this shit, huh? And them niggas was like, yep, hell yeah, we definitely can, yep, yep, that's right.
To repay him for all the kindness he had shown us. We indeed came from the rising of the sun, and were servants and subjects of a powerful monarch, called Don Carlos, who had numerous distinguished princes among his vassals, and had expressly sent us to his country to beg of him and his subjects to become converts to the Christian faith, for the salvation of their souls. In this way, a pleasant discourse was kept up between Montezuma and Cortes. Our general now issued strict commands that no one should stir from headquarters until we had gained some certain knowledge as to how matters really stood.
Yeah, it's interesting hearing their perspective on how this took place. Um, Especially how they say Montezuma just said, "Hey, y'all the people just gonna come steal everything, huh?"
More than 300 kinds of dishes were served up for Montezuma's dinner from his kitchen, underneath which were placed pans of porcelain filled with fire to keep them warm. 300 dishes of various kinds were served up for him alone, and above 1,000 for the persons in waiting. We were told that the flesh of young children, as a very dainty bit, was also set before him sometimes by way of a relish. Whether there was any truth in this, we could not possibly discover, on account of the great variety of dishes consisting in fowls, turkeys, pheasants, partridges, quails, tame and wild geese, venison, musk swine, pigeons, hares, rabbits.
Hold on, man. They had all types of shit. They had all types of shit. Like, oh my God. Like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. They had what?
Pans of porcelain filled with fire to keep them warm.
Wait a minute. They had fucking
dishes.
They had the fucking little lights that you motherfucking put under the motherfucking hold on one second. Well, yeah, these motherfuckers had the little warmers, the warmers that you put, all the catering aunties. Like, I got a catering auntie, goddamn. You know what I'm saying? We got to have them warmers under that good Geechee food. You know what I said? How did them niggas had motherfucking pre-colonial motherfucking food warmers, niggas? Like, wait a minute. This niggas
really stood. More than 300 kinds of dishes were served up for Montezuma's dinner from his kitchen.
More than 300 dishes. Just the complexity of having a kitchen that can produce 300 dishes. That's just his own personal kitchen. That ain't the niggas that got barbecue spots around the corner and shit. Like, that's the royal kitchen, right?
Underneath which were placed pans of porcelain filled with fire to keep them warm. 300 dishes of various kinds were served up for him alone, and above 1,000 for the persons in waiting.
Fuck. He had 300 dishes for himself and 1,000. Like, just think about that. This ain't no motherfucking niggas in the woods hunting buffalo and shit, nigga. Like, this is not that, gang. Like, this is not niggas hopping out of trees and shit. Motherfucking goddamn, like, come on, gang. Like, this just not that. Just listen to the description of what Cortez said he's seeing himself. He said he's seeing niggas fucking from every ends of the lands just coming to see them niggas from all over the places. All the buildings, all the top of the buildings full of niggas. All of these niggas just around. They said uninnumerable. Y'all know what innumerable mean? That mean you can't count how many niggas. That's how many canoes was in the motherfucking in the like lakes and rivers and shit. They said towns upon towns led up into the great city of Mexico. This just one city. This just one province. It's just one place. This is not no motherfucking hunter-gatherer culture, gang.
We were told that the flesh of young children, as a very dainty bit, was also set before him sometimes by way of a relish. Whether there was any truth in this, we could not possibly discover, on account of the great variety of dishes consisting in fowls, turkeys, pheasants, partridges, quails, tame and wild geese, venison.
So they were told, but they said they don't really know if it's true or not. They just saying. We couldn't tell because these niggas had fucking
1,000 dishes on the motherfucking table. They didn't know like this meat, this ain't meat, nigga. Like it could have been like this is Hunnam chicken, this is human chicken. Like you know what I'm saying? Like I don't know. Like I don't know what they trying to imply, but why would a people who got all those dishes be cooking up niggas? I just don't understand that. But we gonna go with what they say. They don't know, right? For the persons in waiting, we were told that the flesh of young children, as a very dainty bit, was also set before him sometimes by way of a relish. Whether there was any truth in this, we could not possibly discover on account of the great variety of dishes consisting in fowls, turkeys, pheasants, partridges, quails, tame and wild geese, venison, musk swine, pigeons, hares, rabbits, and of numerous other birds and beasts. Indeed, it would have been no easy task to call them all by their name. This I know, however, for certain, that after Cortes had reproached him for the human sacrifices and the eating of human flesh, he issued orders that no dishes of that nature should again be brought to his table. Respecting the abominable human sacrifices of these people, the following was... Yeah, I don't believe this shit, to be honest. Where's my motherfucking sound effect at? I don't believe it. I think you motherfucking was coming off them boats hungry, eating each other. Goddamn it. First one. Nice. Communicated to us. The breast of the unhappy victim destined to be sacrificed was ripped open with a knife made of sharp flint. The throbbing heart was then torn out and immediately offered to the idol god in whose honor the sacrifice had been made. After this, the head, arms, and legs were cut off and eaten at their banquets, with the exception of the head, which was saved and hung to a beam appropriated for that purpose. No other part of the body was eaten, but the remainder was thrown to the beasts, where there were also vipers and other poisonous serpents, and among the latter in particular, a species at the end of whose tail there was a kind of rattle. We were positively told that after we had been beaten out of the city of Mexico and had lost 850 of our men, these of rattle. We were positively told that after we had been beaten out of the city of Mexico and had lost 850 of our men, these horrible beasts. But I thought Cortez and them came through and whooped the shit out them niggas. I thought they had just ran through that motherfucker and disease and everybody just started disappearing because they didn't have no immunity to nothing. You know what I'm saying? That didn't sound like they was whooping ass. I'm just saying, it didn't sound like rattle. We were positively told that after we had been beaten out of the city of Mexico and had lost 850 of our men, these horrible beasts were fed for many successive days with the bodies of our unfortunate country. So why, if a nigga offer you 1,000 dishes, how did you go from a nigga offering you 1,000 dishes to getting beat out the city? Like, how did you get there, Preswood? How the fuck did you get from offered 1,000 dishes to getting beat the fuck out of the city? Like the man that offer you all the splendors that America has to offer, and you motherfuckers get beat out the city. Let me take a quick break real quick. We're going to come right back, gang.
Damn. Well, the concern is African American voters are voting at just as high a percentage as Americans.
Family in this bitch. Tom Don, real American, original American. I'm from her, I ain't come here. Yeah.
Say cop on my color, I die for my brothers, but I do not think that these hoes understand. It landed up Bama, they burned down your channels through niggas and slammers, equality dead. Fuck it, I up, they came back from my virgin, the feather my colors, the crown with the feds. Watch how you classify when you be passing by, calling you black, it's like calling you dead. Y'all came to the land of the free and the home of the brave, but forgot that it's not where you stayed. Start having babies and switching your name around, land on the dies and you taking their place. Don't forget Democrats pushing your city back, casting your vote, put you in the grave. We write your history, filling with misery, lying, told everyone we was the slaves. Where your ancestors from? What name you took on? What boat did you bitches come on? If you had a sponsorship, you not a Thompson and see, but my people been here all along. Calling us African must be an accident. Claiming you American shit is just wrong. Clarification in case you mistaken. Sit back and remember the words to this song. Obama is not American. Rich McConnell is not American. You crackers is not American. Pan-African is not American. Remember there's two Americans. We the old, not the new Americans. Man, look how they do Americans. Black people, the true Americans. Sorry, not sorry.
The Indian humpbacked dwarfs, who acted as buffoons and performed antics for his amusement. At another time, he would have jesters to enliven him with their witticisms. Montezuma took great delight in these entertainments. Indeed, the daily expense of these dinners alone must have been very great. They then presented him with 3 beautifully painted and gilt tubes, which were filled with liquid amber and a herb called by the Indians tobacco. And the monarch took the smoke into his mouth, and after he had done...
But no, they're gonna say the white man created the tobacco. Wasn't no tobacco till the white man got a hold of it.
Tubes, which were filled with liquid amber and a herb called by the Indians tobacco. And the monarch took the smoke into his mouth, and after he had done this a short time, he fell asleep. Cortes now determined to view the city and visit the great market and the chief temple of Huitzilopochtli. On our proceeding to the great temple and passing the courtyards adjoining the market, we observed numbers of other merchants who dealt in gold dust as it was dug out of the mines, which was exposed to sale in tubes made of the bones of large geese, which had been worked to such a thin substance and was so white that the gold shone through them. The value of these tubes of gold was estimated according to their length and thickness. Before we mounted the steps of the great temple, Montezuma, who was sacrificing on the top to his idols, sent 6 papas and 2 of his principal officers to conduct Cortes up the steps. There were 114 steps to the summit, and, as they feared that Cortes would experience the same fatigue in mounting that Montezuma had, they were going to assist him by taking hold of his arms. Cortes, however, would not accept of their aid. When we had reached the summit of the temple, we walked across a platform where many large stones were lying on which those who were doomed for sacrifice were stretched out. Near these stood a large idol in the shape of a dragon, surrounded by various other abominable figures, with a quantity of fresh blood lying in front of it. Montezuma himself stepped out of a chapel in which his cursed gods were standing, and received Cortes and the whole of us very courteously. "Ascending this temple," said he to our commander, "must certainly have fatigued you." Cortes, however, assured him, through our interpreters, that it was not possible for anything to tire us. Upon this, the monarch took hold of his hand and invited him to look down and view his vast metropolis, with the towns which were built in the lake and the other towns which surrounded the city. Indeed, this infernal temple, from its great height, commanded a view of the whole surrounding neighborhood. We observed the aqueduct, which provided the whole town with sweet water. The lake itself was crowded with canoes, which were bringing provisions, manufactures, and other merchandise to the city. In all these towns, the beautiful white-plastered temples rose above the smaller ones, like so many towers and castles in our Spanish towns, and this, may be imagined, was a splendid sight. After we had sufficiently gazed upon this magnificent picture, we again turned our eyes towards the great market, and beheld the vast numbers of buyers and sellers who thronged there. Some of our men, who had been at Constantinople and Rome, and travelled through the whole of Italy, said that they had never seen a marketplace of such large dimensions.
Anyone listening? Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Everybody hold on. I just did some fuck shit.
Place of such large dimensions, who thronged there. Some of our men, who had been at Constantinople and Rome, and travelled through the whole of Italy, said that they had never seen a marketplace of such large dimensions, or which was so well. Turned our eyes to all of Italy, said that they had never seen a marketplace of such large dimensions, or which was so well regulated, or so crowded with people, as this one at Mexico. Next to this temple was another one, in which human skulls and bones were piled up, though both apart. Their numbers were endless. This place had also its appropriate idols, and in all these temples we found priests clad in long black mantles, with hoods shaped like those worn by the Dominican friars. Their ears were pierced, and the hair of their head was long and stuck together with coagulated blood. Cortes and the whole of us at last grew tired of the sight of so many idols and implements used for these sacrifices, and we returned to our quarters accompanied by a great number of chief personages whom Montezuma had sent for that purpose. Our general and father, Olmedo, readily perceived that Montezuma would never give his consent to our erecting a cross on his chief temple, nor that we should build a chapel there. But in 3 days our church was finished, and a cross planted in front of our quarters. As all of us, officers as well as privates, were men of experience, full of energy and very determined, who had never lost sight that the Lord Jesus Christ had assisted us with his divine hand in all our undertakings, we deputed 4 officers and 12 of our most trustworthy and faithful soldiers, myself being among the number, to Cortes, and represented to him how we were cooped up in this strong city, as if we had been caught in a net or a cage. Taking all this into consideration, our opinion was that we had no other resource left by which we could place our own lives in safety than by seizing the monarch's person without delay. Cortes, in reply to their representation, said, "Do not imagine, gentlemen, that I either sleep so peaceably, or that what you have just been stating has not caused me much anxiety. But we ought first to weigh well whether you think we are sufficiently strong in numbers for so bold an attempt as to take this mighty monarch prisoner in his own palace." 1 hour was thus spent in deliberating as to whether we should take Montezuma prisoner, and the manner in which it was to be done. At last we came to the resolution of seizing the monarch's person on the following day, and Cortes gave his full consent. After we had come to the determination of seizing the person of Montezuma, and had been on our knees the whole night in prayer, we made the necessary arrangements when morning came for that purpose. Everyone received orders to be ready to march out at a moment's notice, and the horses were to be kept saddled. Our general now sallied forth, accompanied by our 5 chief officers. After Cortes had entered his apartment and the usual compliments had been passed, he thus addressed us. After Cortez had entered his apartment and the usual compliments had been passed, he thus addressed Montezuma. I am greatly astonished that a prince of such power, who styles himself our friend, should have commanded his troops, which lie on the coast near Tuzapan, to take up arms against my Spanish troops, and presumed to demand a certain number of men and women for the sacrifices from those townships. But this is not all. They have plundered those places, and even killed one of my brothers and a horse. How very differently we acted on our side, continued Cortez. I had put reliance in your friendship, and desired my officers in every way to comply with your wishes. You, on the contrary, have commanded your officers the very opposite. At the present moment your generals have the audacity to plot in secret to put us all to death. However, notwithstanding all this treachery, I will refrain from making war upon you, which would only end in the total destruction of this city. But in order that peace may be maintained between us, you must make a small sacrifice, which is to follow us quietly into our quarters and take up your abode there. But if you make any alarm now, or call out to your attendants, you are a dead man. Montezuma was seized with such a sudden terror at these words that he remained speechless for some time. At length, however, he took courage and declared he had never given any orders to take up arms against us. He would that instant send for his generals and learn from them the truth of the whole matter. Cortez, in answer to this, gave him very good reasons for our having come to this determination, but Montezuma continually brought in stronger reasons why he should not comply. He said to Cortez, since you repose no trust in me, take my son and my daughters as hostages, only do not disgrace me by demanding my person. What will the grandees of my empire say if they see me taken prisoner? Cortez, however, said that his own person would be the only guarantee of our safety, and that there were no other means of quieting our fears. At last, Montezuma, after a good deal of altercation, made up his mind to go quietly with us. His rich and splendid sedan was then brought in, which he commonly used when he left his palace with his whole suite, and he followed us to our quarters, where we took every precaution to secure his person. Shortly afterwards, all the Mexican grandees with his nephew called upon him to inquire the reason of his imprisonment and ask him if they should commence hostilities against us. But Montezuma told them he wished to do himself the pleasure of passing a few days with us, and that this change of abode was of his own free choice. And these are the true circumstances relative to the imprisonment of Montezuma. He was always surrounded by the whole of his household, and had all his wives with him, and continued to bathe himself daily, as he had been accustomed to. After some time had elapsed, the generals who had fought against Escalante were brought in prisoners to the monarch. What he told them on that occasion I do not know, but he sent them to Cortez to pronounce judgment on them himself. Our generals made no further ceremony with these Mexicans, but sentenced them to death, and they were burnt alive in front of Montezuma's palace. And that no impediment might be thrown in the way while these sentences were being put to execution, Cortez ordered chains to be put on Montezuma. At first he certainly did not approve of this, but in the end he quietly submitted, and grew even more tractable afterwards. When the executions had taken place, Cortez approached him with 5 of our officers, and himself took off his chains again, with the assurance that he loved him more than a brother. The severe example which Cortez had made of the Mexican generals had its full effect. News thereof ran like wildfire throughout the whole of New Spain. The tribes along the coast, by whom our troops of Vera Cruz had been defeated, were seized with terror, and again offered their services to the garrison there. Sometimes also Montezuma played at a certain game with Cortez, which the Mexicans call the game of Totoloc. It is played with small round glossy balls, which here were made of gold, and are pitched at a certain mark, also of the same metal. 5 throws finished the game, and the stakes were for valuable gold trinkets and jewels. I still remember once when Montezuma and Cortez were playing at this game, Alvarado scoring for Cortez and a distinguished chief for the monarch, that Alvarado continually scored one too many for Cortez. This was observed by Montezuma, who said, with a pleasing smile, that he was not exactly pleased when Donatio, so they termed Alvarado, marked the game for Cortez. I must now beg the kind reader to pause a moment upon the heroic deeds we performed and consider their magnitude. First of all, we destroy all our vessels and thereby cut off all hopes of escaping from this country. We then venture to march into this strong city, though we were warned against it on all sides. We then have the audacity to imprison the monarch of this vast empire, the powerful Montezuma, in his own metropolis, and at last we even fearlessly burn some of his generals to death in front of his own palace, and throw the monarch himself in chains while this is being executed. Even now, in my old age, the heroic deeds we then accomplished come vividly to my memory, but must also acknowledge that, although we had our hands full, we were aided by divine providence. These things, indeed, ought to be deeply pondered on, and not mentioned so briefly as I here have done.
True fruit. What up with it?
What up, App TV, man? What is this you got us listening to, man?
Why? Are you triggered?
I'm not triggered, but I'm trying to make sense of all this, man. Like, there's so many details that don't detail. It's like, what are these people talking about?
Hey, man. I'm just here so I don't get fined, okay? So, what the person put out is, I guess, this is a direct read of one of Cortez's conquistadors. So it's from that perspective that we're listening to it from. You understand?
Oh, okay. So we got to listen to the liar's perspective of it, right? Because, the victors always write the history. Okay, just making sure.
Well, I think it's interesting just to highlight, because through the ultimate capture of Montezuma and all that, you do get to hear like a description of what was taking place prior to colonization. You understand what I'm saying? Hell yeah, I'm on Snap.
Yeah, I get you. It's just, I'm just like, hold on, fam. Because it's the details that don't add up. But I'm going to let it finish before I start, asking questions about this shit.
No, but that's the end of it. That was the end of it.
You said what?
That was the end of it right there.
Oh, that was it?
That was it.
Okay. So I just want to know, how is it Mexico if it wasn't Mexico during that time?
Maybe it was Mexico at that time.
Okay. So maybe it was Mexico during that time. Okay.
They had tobacco.
I mean, I understand that, right? But Mexico wasn't a nation until like what? Spanish-Mexican War was. So what time did Cortez get there? You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to add that up. That's my first. 1600s. 1500s. Okay. Mexico been around since the 1500s.
1519 is when Cortez. Well. But they was talking about the city of Mexico, like if it was like the capital.
Oh, okay. So that makes sense then. If it was a city called Mexico, then they want to put it in our face, so they call the country Mexico. Okay. All right, that's my first thing. So my second thing is this, right? What language did Montezuma speak?
I don't know. They said tobacco, gang. I don't know what language is tobacco.
Tobacco. Okay. So is this okay? Hold on, because is this the first time Cortez got there, or the second time? Which one is it? Because I know they talk about, like, they got 3 visitations or something. Because I'm getting it that this is their first time coming here and they meeting these people and they got translators translate. I'm like, well, what language do they speak for them to translate? How did they learn that translation that quick?
Obviously, their translators already knew how to speak the language.
I know that. I'm just asking, like, is this the first visitation, the second, the third, 15th? I don't know.
Well, based off the context clues, it would allude to it being the first. Based off of them saying like they ain't never saw no shit like what they seen. This they second or third time. I would assume they wouldn't be all enamored. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I guess. Okay. All right.
But other than that, what did you think about some of the things they were describing?
I don't know, App TV. Let's say I invite you over to my mansion and we got collard greens, chicken, beef, pork chops, all types of shit. We got 300 courses, right? And I'm going to bring out a human body to eat. And then you eat it, and I'm going to whoop your ass and tell you can't come back here or some shit. Kick you out. That part really got to me. I'm like, huh? But I mean, it was a good, presentation, I guess, or story or whatever. But it's, like I said, some details is just like, it's a little questionable. You know what I'm saying?
Well, they trying to tell the true, like a true story with a lie in it. So it's always gonna be questions, like, you know what I mean? You're trying to make a lie sound like the truth, and add some truth in it to make it a good lie.
Yeah, I get that.
Like they fucking said they was afraid Montezuma was gonna fucking enslave them or whatever after they brought them into the palace and all that shit and fed them and did all that shit. Then they had the bright idea to just run up on them, and they allowed that to happen. Like somebody allowed that
In 3 days as well. 3 days. I don't know, man. This whole history thing is just like, huh? Because one moment you hear like, yeah, these people were highly advanced and everybody else is primitive, and then it's like you said, they come over here and it's like, well, it doesn't sound primitive when they wrote about it. And then what we also hear is these people who supposedly came over here and enslaved us didn't even know how they washed their ass until the 1800s. So I'm like, man, this whole history thing is just like, huh?
I mean, well, that's the point, ain't it? They've been making the shit up as they go. Now we figuring it out. Man, no, nothing sound right. Before we love to hear shit like this. Now it's like, this bullshit.
I mean, I'll give it this though. This should make more sense than what these Moors was talking about yesterday, so I can't say nothing about it. But that shit, this is.
There you go. You done started.
My bad, bro. My bad. So what? So do they have like any other shit about Montezuma? I mean, because they put in the Marine Corps him, you know what I'm saying, from the halls of Montezuma. Like, oh, so they're not talking about no bullshit. They're talking about his place or some shit. You know what I'm saying? So what else do they have on Montezuma, his castle, other than the fact that this man had 1,000 dishes? Like, goddamn.
Yeah, I could probably find some shit pertaining to that. But like the dude was explaining they couldn't even identify or name all of the things. So if they couldn't identify and name it, which is the primary source, how else would we be able to conclude what took place, you know, and what was consumed at that time period? I guess we can do DNA.
We're gonna use DNA.
I mean, how else would you find?
I mean, you're right. We should you know, find the haplogroups and you know, find out that stuff as well. As you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, to see what type of based off the getting in what's happening. Yeah, I like to listen to shit like that because within some of the lies, they'll drop a little bit of truth, right? They'll talk about the gold, they'll talk about the feasts, talk about the plaza and right?
I mean, you can't tell a lie without the truth, because if it's a bald faced lie, we're gonna know it's a bald faced lie. So I mean, you gotta put because you just gotta put it in there. You know what I'm saying? It's the fact that he talking about we had marbles with gold in them. We was playing marbles for that long.
Playing for gold trinkets.
Hey fam, put up your gold chain in this game of marbles. All right, fam. Like, it was just nothing. The gold ball, yeah. Like, what the hell?
Sorry, y'all. I'm out here smoking a cigarette. I had a big ass truck coming up. What's up, Auntie? I see you in the building.
Said you smoking a cigarette.
Yeah, nigga.
What kind of smoke you smoking?
I'm smoking all plant-based.
Oh, you roll your own, huh?
You know, food. What else can I add to it? Seedless. I'm smoking.
Oh, okay, I get you.
Yeah, I'm smoking seedless right now, gang. Hold on real quick, real quick.
Triple D Texas, bro. You ain't scared about the shit you be talking about? Fuck out that top and I'm with it. Talk about business. People just started, I finished. They say that I'm black, bitch, I'm engine. Fuck your Thanksgiving. Shoot at these races for Christmas. I ain't got no time for no limits. Bitch, I see murder, I'm there for my niggas. Master the fusion, no just on the pictures. Came back for my pyramids, free my Egyptians. Disrespect my cook, they ass in a pot. Someone out set, conjure up, I'm in rhyme. Know that they know they act like they forgot. Bitch, we ain't slaves for the children of yacht. Fuck come together, they think that they better. They took out your cheddar, put rats in your camp. Erase your maps, infiltrate snaps. That's how long they been here, act like they can't count. Run them out the block like Freddie Haynes. Oak Cliff America. Run them out the block like Freddie Haynes. Oak Cliff America. Run them out the block like Freddie Haynes. Oak Cliff America. Run them out the block like Freddie Haynes. Push to the limit, we rip off the fence. If you ain't my brother, then I ain't gon' spend it. Heard they was coming, they sent up defenseless. Ain't nothing personal, bitch, it's just business. The blueberries got shooting habits. Being black is dope, police is super addicts. We get blamed for crimes, can't avoid the lashes. Passing prayers, never make it past them. They made you black and left you stuck with it. No kumbaya, nigga, fuck forgiveness. Don't forget oppression, don't forget the lynching. Still have to pop like the way in prison. So who the fuck want the smoky smoke? Like cigarettes, I open up and throw. Niggas can't be falling for the okie doke. Every time we ride, they try to give us dope. Run them out the block like Freddie Haynes. Oak Cliff America. Run them out the block like Freddie Haynes. Oak Cliff America. Run them out the block like Freddie Haynes. Oak Cliff America. Run them out the block like Freddie Haynes.
All right, all right. We got 116 people in the building. Make sure y'all hit that like button, share the video out for me one time. What's up with y'all niggas, man? What's up with y'all today? See Auntie in the building. See Cherokee Toe you in the building. Yvonne Adams. What up with it? But yeah, I think it's just interesting going through the evidence and looking at and listening to, observing the evidence that's available. Just coming up with your own hypotheses on what takes place. I don't think I say everybody has their own motivations and things that's driving them to do whatever they do, you know, and everybody is at different places in their journey. I think that being respectful of where someone is in their journey, and, you know, identifying it, knowing that that's where they are. If you already been through that, you know what I'm saying, help them if you want to. If you don't, keep it pushing. You know what I mean? Like, so
Yeah, I get you. I mean, because the reason I asked is because, like, you know, this is why I stopped digging into the history of things, because it's always you hear everything new every time, and then you get to the point where you start believing in it, and then you get told something, and you know your ego gonna start, you know, talking, and then it's just like, you know what, I ain't trying to feed my ego at this point. I'm just trying to feed the knowledge and take what I know about certain people that we learned about in history and apply what they did. If Montezuma had a castle that had 1,000 dishes, man, nigga, I'm trying to get to that status then. You know what I'm saying? So what the hell was he doing that I can do now to get to that point? You know what I'm saying? What did Black Hollywood do? I mean, Tulsa, Brooklyn, all these Wall Streets we had back in the day. You know what I'm saying? What did they do to get to that status of having business stuff? Because I mean, I respect the history, I really do, but we can't trust everything we hearing nowadays. You know what I'm saying?
I agree 100%. I think observing the history gives you the ability to find out what worked for them and what potentially didn't work. You know what I mean? What potentially went wrong and what, you know, went right for certain individuals in certain cities and towns and things of that nature. I think having the ability to have access to the information is our greatest gift right now. And so with having access to the information, once you get access, what do you do with it? Like, are you utilizing it to benefit you and your people? Or are you just utilizing it to kind of go on an ego trip and kind of like gatekeep the information?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, don't, like, what I'm saying is, don't get caught up with the titles and identity, but you should get caught up in who it was, who he looked like, and know that you have that potential to do exactly what the hell they did. I mean, might not be to that same degree because of today's standards, but I mean, shit, if I could build a mansion and have 300 dishes, then that's something close. You know what I'm saying?
That's 300 dishes at one time. 1,000 dishes. That was him. He
was a hungry ass nigga. Everything was Thanksgiving for him. Hell.
Shout out to my brother Roger W for sending the donation.
You know what?
Go
you
ahead,
know what,
bro.
Anthony? I think I know how he had 1,000 dishes. You know how you go to these fancy 5-star restaurants, you be like, yeah, let me get some filet mignon, you know what I'm saying? And they come out with that small ass plate. I think that's how he had 1,000 dishes.
Man, you know niggas ain't making no small ass steak.
I mean, you get like one scoop of, mac and cheese, and then you get another scoop of something else on a small ass little plate. I mean, how is he gonna have 1,000 dishes? You know what I'm saying? Plus, these people, they gotta learn from somewhere. So
it sound like Gang was OD.
I mean, shit, he had his own personal 5-star restaurant with 1,000 courses, bro. He had 1,000 dishes.
Gang was showing out. That's all he was doing. Like he was showing out. Like, oh, we got guests. Let me show you how you niggas look. Shit, let me show you something. This nigga probably had 150 different types of goddamn greens. Cabbages and kales and shit.
Yeah, like 50 versions of mac and cheese, each with different noodles. That's 50, right? Then he had 50 other different dishes of all types of noodles and spaghetti. And if you see what I'm saying, that man was just showing out for no reason.
That nigga was going stupid with it.
But also, I ain't gonna lie and say that, they do have some details of it about, the abomination of a statue of a dragon. We all know who the dragon is, who that represents. That's Quetzalcoatl right there. But the tankards of blood is like, hold on now. He had cups of blood next to it. Okay.
Hey man.
You think we was doing some blood rituals and shit? Like I'm just probably. All right, cool. Good. I don't know, fam. That shit make me queasy.
Niggas was probably doing all types of shit. We all just like now. It's a bunch of shit niggas do now. You don't motherfucking you don't count for or want to be like, yeah, that's me and mine. Like, you know what I mean? But they be niggas.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie and say that because we got to remember that this is the so-called Cortez and the Christian expansion, right? And when we talk about our culture, we don't see okay, if Quetzalcoatl is Jesus, we're not over here talking about let me drink the blood of Quetzalcoatl and eat his flesh in remembrance of him as he carried the cross to wherever the hell. We don't do that. You know what I'm saying? That's why I had to ask that question. I mean, yeah. You're right.
I might have been seeing niggas get flung off the top of them pyramids and shit. Maybe that was the ancient way to tenderize the meat. You know what I'm saying? Just fling your ass out the goddamn. Lay your ass out the goddamn top of the pyramid. Let you hit 127 steps and take you to the butcher, nigga. Like, hey, feed the chickens and the hogs with this nigga right here, cause I'm just joking.
We're gonna bring him up there with the cross too, just like Quetzalcoatl had to carry the cross apparently and throw his ass down.
It's a goddamn ancient motherfucking goddamn meat tenderizer, nigga. They have motherfucking. Yeah.
Like, hey, man, ready to sacrifice. Hit him with the be like, this is Montezuma and Spartan kick a nigga off that bitch or some shit. Okay, I see
it. I'm just saying, man. I'm just having fun. I don't know. I don't have any primaries that say niggas was getting Spartan kicked off.
Yeah. I don't know why this bitch. I'm sitting driving my truck. I got this lady sitting here recording me on the phone and stuff. I'm just talking. I don't know why she's sitting there recording me right here.
Oh, man, you got a Karen beside you.
Yeah, I'm getting Karen right now. She ain't doing nothing but holding up traffic and fucking self at this point in time. So it is what it is.
He's black. Look at him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where you at?
I mean, I'm going the speed limit and everything. She's sitting there recording me. Okay.
It doesn't matter.
I know it don't. Getting carried.
Just listen.
But we ain't gonna sit here and say being a Karen is part of our culture. Ain't no fucking way.
Just look at you. That's a. How many Slavs you think you can get, boy, for you get on the radar?
I mean, yeah.
You ain't gonna be able to go nowhere where Slavs is present and be countries, right?
Man, look, you can't do nothing with Slavs, and you can't be yourself around Slavs. Look what they did to look what they did to our boy. They done butchered the whole story of, you know what I'm saying?
They said they ran up on that nigga fucking in his chambers in his apartment. Then they said when he left, he got in his sedan.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, what do they call a sedan today? And there what a sedan is?
He had a little horse buggy, bro.
He had something, nigga. He had some Flintstone shit going on. He riding on like 7 niggas. I said that's nigga power. The first one.
I heard that nigga power is 0.5 faster than horsepower, so
yeah.
I'm just saying.
I've never seen a nigga power motor vehicle or motor transportation. Maybe we should see. What's up, Auntie?
Salute. Did you get that video I sent to your email with that human that Pan-African science, whatever you want to call him, about America yesterday? They were laughing.
Who?
You sent this to me? Oh yeah, I see it.
Yeah, I said they was live at the time I sent it to you.
Oh, yeah, I did see this. What the hell was they talking about?
Basically, it always want to tie it back into Africa. You know how they do, because don't nobody really. He's saying the Foundation Black American and American, the indigenous people, but it. Of course, anytime they're talking, they always have to. Now the thing is to say we left Africa, before the colonization, and that's why you're in America now. Is because you didn't have no trees to make the boats, but you made it to Africa during Pangea. See, that's why they always bring up. I don't even believe in Pangea, but I believe that's just their way of saying how you wind up in America.
So you came before Columbus.
Yeah, you did. It ain't that you are the indigenous people. It's just you came before Columbus, which is a bunch of bull. I guess everybody just split out and just went their separate ways. People wind up in all the other islands, and we wind up over here. But you don't call nobody but the people in America.
Yeah, I find that ironic. I think that niggas is just bought into the African juice, the Pan-African sauce, and there's nothing we can do for if you won't even be.
What we're dealing with is who told the story first. So, they're just like if somebody got caught doing some shit and the person, maybe the person that did the shit, but if he run and go tell before you able to tell the truth, then he's more likely you'll believe him because he came and told first. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's what people are dealing with. We're dealing with, oh, well, the Caucasians told the story before these so-called African Americans, black or whatever you want to call us, before they decided to come and tell the story. But the Caucasians already started telling the story back in the late 60s. Then it came up when the late 60s came out with I'm Black and I'm Proud. And that was just to add to the narrative of the 1978 Roots movie. Because black is a corporate construct out of Africa. It's not an origin of the people of Africa, but it's a corporate construct out of Africa. So that's what we're dealing with, the narrative of who ran and told the story first, and just because they are able to put it in movie form, because with us, if we see it, we believe it. We do no research on it to see if this taking place, and it could be just research on your own bloodline. It don't have to be on the history, just the history of your own bloodline. So where you place yourself in history is knowing where your lineage was and what your lineage was doing. Not everybody else, because once everybody else know their story in this American bloodshed, this whole criminal act against the Americans, once they're tied their blood in, then everybody has a story to tell. We're only getting the story of the colonizer. We're not getting our story. Our bloodline is yet to be told. I linguist the mic.
We got Darvish Billy Lock in the building. What's up, Darvish? Trying to get in? This mic probably fucked up. I agree though, Auntie. Yeah, definitely. There's still a lot to uncover. I don't think we've even scratched the surface on, information will come out.
Like, we know that there was kings here, kings, queens, whatever, because the king had a queen. They both shared the throne. Those are bloodlines. You don't make deals with peasants. You make deals with kings who run kingdoms. So when we was having these wars, there was treaties made with kings, not with no goddamn peasants, no individuals, because everybody didn't come from a king bloodline. Think about it.
Yeah, I thought it was funny that they kept referring to him as a monarch, which would allude to, once again, cities and towns within an empire, right? Like, it wouldn't be like, who the fuck is the monarch of some damn hunter-gatherer tribe with some TVs? I don't like. Obviously, there was a kingdom here, and that's all we've been saying. Like, the history that's been told, which was when they got here, it was some damn hurry up and buy looking motherfuckers over here. Goddamn, chasing buffalo.
No, you did not. No, you just did not.
Yep, there was no hurry up and buy.
Yeah, they were chasing buffalo.
Yeah. Those people. And then I don't even agree with that narrative, because they didn't know nothing about buffaloes. Buffaloes ain't from Europe. They from right here. That's why I say a lot of them came through Angel Island. They are a mix of the Filipinos, the Eurasians, and some of the South Americans. And they're a mixture of them. The book Chino to Native they didn't come through no damn Bering Strait. That was the lie.
I definitely don't think they came through the Bering Strait. I think they, like you said, I think they came through the Pacific and through slave trade. I think those.
Yes.
With the Slavs, those was the first people
The real slave trade was these Slavs and these Asians that were brought over here. That's it. I don't know why people still can't fathom the idea. Oh, my grandparent is Irish when they come here during the 1800s. Oh, so they were part of the slave trade. They were indentured. And then you got people talking about a Slav or indentured servant is not a slave. That's exactly what it is.
Mm-hmm.
See, people still got this concept that slavery is taken from your homeland, beaten, battered, and bruised for dropping an egg, like in Django or some shit, and then freed by the Emancipation Proclamation. That makes no goddamn sense
at all. Or a nigga he bought his freedom. Which what did he buy it with?
How he gonna buy freedom if they wasn't even making money?
Yep, there you go. So what was he hoarding? Cotton and shit. Hoarding. Back then it was whatever your trade, like rice. It was different things that you can trade. What you place the value to. They placed just like they placed the value on this cotton that they call money. It's because they had you to look at this value and it holds no value. That's the only way it got value because they had taking that value.
Big says they went ahead. The slaves then hoarded $6.37 and bought their freedom.
Yeah,
type shit.
No, they had sunflower seeds in their braids. They bought their shit with sunflower seeds and fucking
stupid shit. But how did you go from you bought your freedom, then you bought hundreds of acres of land? Make this make sense. Come on.
Says Halbert, this what happened, right? This what happened. The slave, so we got to take away inflation, right? Because during that time, a dollar could buy you a pair of jeans, right? So this what happened. The slave bought their freedom for like $20 and then bought land for $5. And that's how they got all that land, because that only makes sense if we're gonna go with the American narrative story about this shit.
Now you had missionaries that traveled worldwide. They had people that came along with them. If you come to a land, you have no food, no nothing. You just missionaries, right? Wouldn't you work so you could still be able to feed yourself even through your missionary work? Am I right or wrong? Wouldn't you feed yourselves while y'all traveling? Because how you gonna come to another land and you don't know how to farm, you don't know how to till the land, you don't know what this land has and what to eat. Is it poisonous? You ain't gonna just pick up and start eating something you have no clue of what it is.
And did y'all hear in the video when they said? Did y'all hear the video when they said the damn conquistadors they burnt their boats and shit, and destroyed them so that they couldn't get back? Why the fuck would you do
that?
Yeah.
They burnt their boat. Yeah, I heard that. I'm like, wait, what? So how did you get back and relay the rest of this information to the people that you coming from?
But you won.
You want me to believe that you came over here and enslaved people with a couple hundred people and took their land over, and that's it? You ain't go back? You ain't tell them, hey, come over here? How did they get back to tell them to bring the chinos and stuff over here? How did they do it?
You gotta go further than that. You need to know where did they get the boats, because boats had to be specific of what they was made from in order to be on salt water.
They said thousands of canoes is what they call them. They want to call them a canoe because they don't want you to know that these is motherfucking boats and that the people had the ability to build ships and shit like that. I remember reading something about something they said about the boats. I can't remember if it was the Toltecs or somebody. They said they had a canoe that could hold 800 men. Like, what kind of fucking canoe can hold 800 men?
That's a big ass fucking canoe. Oh, how long was that canoe? How wide was that thing? What was it made out of? Was it motor powered at that point? Like shit.
Back then, we probably didn't have the nuts and bolts. We really had to chisel and put stuff together like a puzzle. And we probably use tar and stuff like that to hold stuff in place. And that stuff was in America. They ain't got that, they don't have that type of shit over there.
You ain't about to sit here and tell me that some Europeans made a canoe that hold 800 people. That's not a canoe at that point.
That's a ship. And then, like I said, they would have to use a certain tree. And that sounds like that would be like you said, the trees out of Florida, or the rubber tree, stuff like that is able to endure. Because I forgot what's the name of that tree. They say it can burn up to so, and you still would never burn. It, set it on fire, but it'll never burn. Because they make doors and houses out of this type of wood.
Yeah, I forgot what the hell the name of that damn tree is.
I want to say acacia, but I don't know.
I can't remember because years ago I heard about it. Like when you work in group homes like I do, all their doors was made of that wood. Like if the house was to catch on fire, I think they say they had up to 5 hours before it start burning. So the door, like, you put the clients in there and shut the door and it will protect you from the fire until somebody's able to get there and help you.
Yeah, that's it. Don't sound like no hunter-gatherer motherfuckers to me. I'm just saying.
So App TV. So if Montezuma, right? So what is the bloodline of Montezuma? Was he part of this whole Chino thing as well? Because they said they came over here and they started mixing with all the people that they done enslaved. So did they enslave Montezuma? Did they kill him outright? Is his bloodline passed on? I'm just trying to figure this out at this point.
Chris made it in the check. It's called a Cecea tree, Acacia.
That's an acacia.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's acacia. That's acacia. That's that. Yeah. Damn, I was right. Hey.
Yeah, you're right.
That acacia wood. That's some good wood.
But I don't know what happened to Montezuma again.
I don't even believe in Montezuma.
I'm assuming that his bloodline was scattered once the city was plundered or some shit. Like, I don't know if that actually took place though, to be completely honest.
The reason I'm asking is because okay, we got the picture of him, right? And yet when you take that picture of him, and what's that dude on ESPN? I forgot his name with the glasses. You know what I'm talking about?
You talking about? Let me tell you shit.
Yep. No, yeah, I think so. But yeah, the dude with the brother with the big nose, got the glasses, pretty tall. I'm like, shit, he damn near look like him.
I don't know. Maybe. Shit.
They got him that historical picture of what the American looked like back in their book with the different. They had the Chinese man, the Asian man, and he got those real strong features. You know what he's talking about. And
Let's talk about Shannon Sharp.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shannon Sharp, and there he is. Yeah, him. He looked down there like a damn picture.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I know one of my grandma's friends kind of look like a dollar store version of Al Sharpton. Much respect to him though. But it's like, okay, these gotta be the Mayans or some descendant of whoever the heck. And now I'm putting it together like, well, shit, Montezuma must have had some cheering or something.
Yeah, of course.
Is his name Montezuma? Because as we know, they like they call the good book. These people in the books and all this, they had several names. Like Pocahontas, that's not even her real name. These people have had variety of names that people, and they just tell the story, but it be the same person because nobody has connected it. But it'd be that one person that they done gave all these different names to.
Man, that nigga name was Monte.
First name Monte, last name Zuma.
Montezuma. You know? What's the meaning of it?
By saying Montezuma, it makes you think African, won't it? Don't it make you think African? Montezuma.
What's the meaning of Monte? Anybody know?
Okay, like I said, Montezuma and Mansa Musa is the same person.
It says Monte is a gang traditionally associated with con men.
Well, as we know, Montezuma could be Montez.
And which
Sis Hallberg, you about to piss a lot of people off with that.
There we go, Monte. 3 cards.
Or DeMonte. Well, because I know they believe in a lot of fairy tales. Hey, we ain't nobody here to keep people, coddle them. Shit, hell, we believe in fucking Tooth Fairy and the rest of this bullshit most of our life. And they still, a lot of people think that they coming into the truth, and really they still dealing with fairy tales.
Sis, you about to piss a lot of people off with that Mansa Musa and Montezuma. I'm just, that make too much sense now. That make too much sense now.
They could be mad because we ain't doing nothing but just breaking down what people should have been breaking down. People don't know Santa Claus, what's that that other thing they celebrate in the Easter egg. All those are the same fucking people. Claus, Jesus, all them are the same damn people with a different name, with the same history.
Oh yeah, put that together. Shoot, like they said, Jesus Christ, Quetzalcoatl. Freaking, the Easter Bunny representing ISIS or Esther.
Jesus Christ is Buddha. He's been a lot of things. So, it's time for people to come out of this fairy tale that they living in. In order to walk in this journey, y'all, it's going to make you uncomfortable. And sometimes, I was just saying this earlier, it'll make you wonder, do I really want this? Because I see stuff that other people that still sleep, that don't see. Because it's like choices now. You know that ain't right, or you going to choose to do it, or you're not, because you know the truth. Other people that don't know the truth. So it's like it's a curse. It's a blessing and a curse all at the same time.
Most things in this reality are.
Yep. All at the same time. Because we can look at TV, by us being enlightened, because I don't like to use the word woke, by us being enlightened, we could see things that the news show that nobody else see. We know the wordplay. We know all these things when they're talking, because it'd be like they really talking to you because you know how to decode the shit. But just think about the person that's sitting in the room with you, don't know nothing about decoding, don't know what he's looking at. He thinking this is real news, not knowing half this shit is scripted. It's already wrote for them before they even go live. I don't care if it's a murder. Everything is already checked out before they go live.
You damn right about that one. That's why I still don't want to watch the second Black Panther, because I'm like, they didn't put Mexicans in our place, but I know I gotta see it to see what details or history or who they talking about in that movie.
Okay, wait a minute. Let me see. Chicama said, that's what happens when you stand in your integrity too, though. And there's a fact, Chickahominy Roots. It's a fact. Because see, like with, just like the weather. Now, how are y'all predicting the weather unless you're controlling the weather? How are you going to tell me that the wind is going to be up to 75 miles per hour? How are you going to tell me that there's going to be a tornado here? How are you going to tell me that it's going to snow? Oh, today's weather is going to be no higher than 35. Oh, tomorrow is going to be 109 degrees, 109 degrees without the heat index. The heat index makes it 120. How are you able to tell me these things unless you're controlling the weather? We're not finna go for who y'all got predicting this. I mean, who got the psychic abilities that all y'all damn you know what I'm saying, news stations?
Sis Halbert, they got the satellites looking at all these areas. That's how they, that's all bullshit.
No.
You know that's, I know they not, because ain't nobody gonna predict. How you gonna predict the weather? This is the thing about it. Tomorrow it's gonna rain. Tomorrow's gonna be, it's gonna rain and it's gonna be 42 degrees. It'd be sunny as hell, partly cloudy, 70, 80 degrees. Then the rain won't come after.
That's because they're using the heart machine. Like today is like 30-some degrees here. Yesterday it was 70-some degrees, tornado watches, thunderstorms all day yesterday. Now today is down 30.
Remember, you guys got to remember, it was supposed to be the coldest winter of the year, the century. 2023 winter was supposed to be the coldest, right? But yet it's 80 degrees down there in Georgia right now. I was just there. It's 20. It's 60 degrees. It was 20 something degrees in Texas. I remember because I drove to there and I was slipping and sliding on ice. I went back to Texas a week later. That motherfucking 90 degrees. I'm like, man, what the hell going on with this shit, bro?
So you remember the movie Tomorrow? Do y'all remember the movie Tomorrow? The Day After Tomorrow. Do y'all remember that movie?
I don't actually. I don't even think I watched it.
Yeah, I remember it.
You remember that, Al?
Yeah, I do.
And just pay attention to what's going on right now. Each scene is like a movie because this is a movie you have seen. Now, this one, are you living with that Day After Tomorrow effect? Shit freezing up, snowing, tornadoes, everything coming all at one time in the middle of what they consider to be winter.
Man, winter no goddamn, ain't no such thing as no damn winter. Why the fuck is 90 degrees somewhere in the supposed winter season? Did Montezuma write about winter? Did the Mayans write about a winter? Did any of our ancestors say anything about a winter? I'm just being honest.
I can say they probably invented the weather machine, but just like with this DNA shit, is everything has to tie back in to why they want you to be from another landmass, and people is like they just can't get that. They can't put it all together why they want you to be from another land, because they feel like, well, they told us the story that they brought our ancestors here as slaves, so that's got to be the truth because they were the first one to put it out. So if you were a slave and you were bought here by way of by the slave trade, that means this land, because they killed off all the Indians and the ones that was left, they put them on reservations and they look just like them.
So you know where these reservations is? You want to know where the reservations where the real Indians is?
The projects?
Yep. The hoods, the projects, in the middle of the goddamn city. I'm wondering why the hell all the black people be in the cities and everybody else be having houses in the middle of the countryside and stuff. I'm like, what's going on here? But Big Dog Philly OG put me on game. He said that these so-called reservations, that these Native American Indians, you know what I'm saying, the fake Indians, all the reservations they own is military bases, retired military bases. I said, wow, ain't no way. I looked that shit up and it was true. I was like, wow. So where the real Indians at then? Where the real reservations at? Because at the end of the day, them so-called Native American tribes, they still getting taxed. It's supposed to be tax-free. You ain't supposed to be taxed if you're an Indian. Why are you still getting taxed on a reservation then?
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I digress.
Yeah, because they put us on when they ran us off our lands, and you have to understand that they got us under prisoners of war. We have been up under prisoners of war for a while now, and you didn't become a part of their system to the 60s when you wanted to go and try to vote. Because at first you wasn't a part of their corporation. You just became a citizen under their corporation in the 60s.
Hold up. So are we saying, Ab TV, so are we, I want to make sense of this. So Cortez burned his ships. Did he enslave Montezuma? Mr. Monte? He didn't. So he just let him run free.
They the same person.
You saying Cortez and Montezuma is the same person?
I don't think that it's specified in the video what took place. I think you have to do your own digging to see what actually was the ultimate end of Montezuma to figure out that cross reference, of course. But I don't think the video specified.
But see, that goes in to paint us as the hunter and gatherers, while they say they built these big old fancy buildings and shit. And that's just really to place them over here in America. Because let them tell it, niggas didn't do shit till they came over here out of their piss and shit and helped us, give us the blueprint to build a building. Other than that, we was out here hunting and gathering.
Yeah, because like I said, I used to go to Mexico, right? Them people will literally sit there and say, "Yeah, we built them pyramids." I'm like, oh, y'all did. Yep, y'all Spanish-speaking people built them pyramids. Y'all Asian-looking, they ain't number Asians that speak Spanish. Y'all built them pyramids with the black people that y'all painted inside of them, doing all types of crazy stuff. Okay, I just had to make sure.
Yeah.
Y'all built them Olmec. Why'd y'all build them Olmec heads then?
I literally seen a Mexican, well, not Mexican, Spaniard, pale skin, and put his face side by side by Olmec and said that that's them, not us. Because they do believe that their ancestors are from Africa.
That boy King Cass got this. I'm like, bro, that does not look like him, bro. What you talking about?
Yes, he the one guy.
I'm like, this nigga really believe that them people look like statues like that? Okay. Well, I don't see not. Why don't he have dreadlocks then? Matter of fact, be honest with you, I don't even think I ever seen a Mexican with dreadlocks.
You haven't.
I'm being. My whole time I spent time in Mexico, like I said, I ain't never seen a Mexican with dreadlocks.
And you won't. Not that time. It's all to manipulate the minds of the people that is their heritage. Because even that big dark skinned, chocolate Indian statue that they got in their museum look like our people here in America. Doesn't look like them.
Says if you read the placard, it says he's from Africa because apparently all black people come from Africa.
Yeah.
yeah. Because so you're telling me he came from Africa as a slave, got freed, and just decided to wear some feathers.
Yeah, became a chief.
Became a chief. Got some rubies, some rubies and crystals and stuff, some studded diamonds. And just decided to live in the woods with some Native American. Okay, that makes perfect sense then.
You let free slaves become y'all chiefs of y'all nations. Make it make sense. But it will be a Negro that will argue that with you because black is on uh real slaves. We came from Africa. They really dealing with what's that battle wife syndrome, that what's that Stockholm syndrome. Our people are dealing with Stockholm syndrome.
Yep.
So no matter what you show them, it doesn't matter. And unless they are willing to do their own research on their own bloodline, they are going to continue to believe what the system put out, because they, in their mind, is why would they put it in school books? Why would they teach it to us if it wasn't so? Because you're gonna have to throw away the whole system once you figure out ain't nothing is correct. The history, the math, none of it is correct. All of it was to keep you dumbed down and to keep you perpetuating this system, because none of this shit they teach us in school was taught right. It's including math and everything. This was to help keeping you perpetuating the system. So now you said you did 12 years of school, but really you didn't. You did not do 12 years of school. You did 12 years of concentration camp. This is what you did. Get in line, raise your hand, don't get out of line. You know, all you did was went through boot camp.
All they did is literally just make you play memory games. Because every year you ask the same stuff over and over again until it's like buried deep into you. All they did was just add more details. You know, 6th grade, oh yeah, the slaves are brought from Africa. 7th grade, oh yeah, slaves are brought from Africa, and let's talk about some very notable slaves. 8th grade, the slaves are from Africa. We're gonna talk about the notable people of the slaves, and we're gonna talk about what the slaves did after. 9th grade, you see what I'm saying? It's the same cycle over. They add more details.
The sad part is they're teaching it. Now we're out of school, but they still teaching this to our children, and it's like they singling us out. So all the rest of the people that's in these schools, the Mexicans, but they're not even Mexicans. I don't know what you call it. The fake Mexicans that's in the schools, the Caucasians, and all these other ethnicities in the school with your children, and they're teaching them children that you were your grandparents were slaves.
They do that shit on purpose. Because the thing about it is, Halbert, that the fucked up part is we want to talk about Europe. They got like 19 chapters about European studies. You want to talk about Mexico? They got like 18 chapters about Mexican studies. But yet, notably, they always want to talk about so-called African American history during Black History Month. Have y'all paid attention to that? Every time they want to talk about us, it's literally during Black History Month or right after MLK Day in January. And we only got 2 chapters, and it's always about us being. It's just buried deep into. They're not gonna tell you about. They're not gonna tell us about. They're not gonna tell our children about Montezuma. They're not gonna tell them that the so-called Mexicans in the history books that are saying that they're the Incas, Aztecs, Mayans, and Iroquois. They're not gonna tell them that it was actually the Black people that were the Mayans, Aztecs, Iroquois, and Olmecs. Of course, they're not gonna tell them that though, because then now the Mexicans be looking like, well, what the fuck is our history? Oh, your history is actually in reverse with the African American stuff. Y'all were the actual slaves. White people were the actual slaves. They don't tell us.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing. Like I said, I have the problem with you teaching all these foreigners that come here. Look, these are the
hello?
Yeah, gang, I'm here. I'm over here.
Okay.
Yeah, I think AP is live. So, got to get the hell up out of here. I appreciate everybody coming through. we can jump into it.
Check out that video, Ab, and give us an insight on it. The one I
Okay,
sent you.
yeah, I'll review it and I'll see if we can bring it to the forefront. And y'all want to say anything before we get out of here?
Now, peace, love, and light. Everybody have a masterful rest of the evening.
Hey, they're not gonna put this picture of Montezuma in the history book. All right, I'm done. Hey, peace and love to the channel, the panel, and everybody out there who rocking with us. Stay blessed.
All right, gang, we out of this motherfucker. I appreciate everybody for coming through. Make sure y'all hit that like button, share the video out on the way out the door. Appreciate my brother Roger W for supporting the channel as always. We out of this motherfucker, man. Until next time. Peace.
I just end with this one thing. These four brothers sitting here, we didn't all come from Africa. And there was a country before 1492, and our history goes way beyond 1492. So you can't start us at 1492. We were always here. We were always here.